Hey there everybody! This video is going to help us with distribution of variables. So it's using our distributive property, but as you can see, sometimes we have variables involved when we're distributing. We haven't run into that yet, but it works a lot like when we were distributing without variables. The steps we're going to take is we're going to distribute anything we need to distribute. Remember, that's anything in front of parentheses needs multiplied by everything inside those parentheses. And then if you can, sometimes you can't, it depends. We're going to CLT or combine like terms. So let's take a look at some problems here. This first one, I have 8x times this whole set of parentheses. So I'm just going to distribute 8x times 9. 8 times 9 is 72. And then the x part stays the same. And then now we have 8x times negative 4x. 8 times negative 4 is negative 32. And then here's where we've got to be a little bit careful. X times x. Anytime you have a variable times by itself, so for instance x times x, that turns into x to the second power x squared. So with these two x's here, I'm going to get an x squared. This right here is technically the right answer, but we've been writing a lot of our answers in standard form. Let's go ahead and switch that. So this is pretty good. The best final answer would be to put my x squared term first, so negative 32x squared, and then plus 72x. Either one is fine. This one right here, a little bit better. Let's try another one. Same idea. Distributing negative 7b. Negative 7 times 10 is negative 70. b times b is b squared. Now I have negative 7 times 8, which is negative 56. And we only have one v there, so it's going to just stay v. No like terms here to combine because this has a squared and this does not. It's already in standard form because my squared term is the first one. So this right here is a beautiful final answer. Sometimes you'll see things like this where something is getting distributed and then you have another term that's not getting distributed. Sort of like things we've seen before. So this 3n right here is going to stay exactly what it is and where it is. I need to distribute this negative 5n. That negative goes with the 5. Negative 5n times n. When you have just an n, that's the same as 1n if that helps you. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. N times n is n squared. Now let's distribute here. Negative 5n times negative 4. Negative times negative is positive. 5 times 4 is 20. And then there's only one n between the two of them, so just regular n. We've done our distributing. However, what we haven't done is we have not combined like terms. My like terms are the two regular n terms. I only have one n squared term. It's going to stay the same, negative 5n squared. But I can combine those two, 3n plus 20n. 3 plus 20 is 23. So final answer there should look something like that, especially if we want it written in standard form. One more here. Negative 9n times 6n. Negative 9 times 6 is negative 54. N times n is n squared. Negative 9n times negative 2. Negative 9 times negative 2 is positive 18, and then n. And then we still have another minus 9n here. That's not part of the distributing, but we need to not forget about it. Going on from here, this is the only n squared term, so it's going to stay the same. I can combine these two. 18 minus 9 is positive 9n. We need something in between here, so that way it doesn't look like one big term. Since it's a positive 9n, we're going to put a plus sign in between. I'm going to show you a few more examples here. So be patient while I erase and write us some new, more fun stuff. Okay, let's try a few more. Here I have just a negative in front of a set of parentheses. When you see just a negative in front of a set of parentheses, it's like having a -1 in front. So feel free to write that in if it helps you. -1 times 6x is -6x. -1 times 4 is -4. And then the -8 stays the same. This is actually more like stuff we've seen before because we didn't actually distribute any variables. Are we done? Let's see, do we have any like terms? We do have like terms, the two number terms, -4 and -8. We can combine those. -4 minus 8 is -12. And then since this was the only x term, it stays the same. Another one where we're just distributing a negative here. If you'd like to write in that -1, go for it. This -9 is not part of the distributing, so it's going to stay what it is and where it is. -1 times -7k is positive 7k. Negative times negative is positive. Same idea here. -1 times -1 is positive 1. So write that as a +1. Looking for like terms. My two like terms are the two number terms, sort of like the last problem. -9 plus 1 is 8. 7k stays the same. Since that is a positive 8, we need to put a +8 in front of it. We always need some sort of sign in between our terms. There's your final answer. Next one up here, and well, both of these here. Notice that we have two sets of parentheses. That means we need to do two sets of distributing. So if you would like, sort of like when we had just a negative in front, it was -1. When we have just an x in front, it's like a 1x. Write in that 1 if it helps you. 1x times 10x. 1 times 10 is 10. X times x is x squared. 1x times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. There's only one x there. I forgot to write my x squared back there. Sorry about that. So that should be 2x. Over here, we're just distributing -3. -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -10 is positive 30. So we've done all our distributing. Do we have like terms? I only have one x squared term, so that's going to stay the same. I do have two regular x terms, those combine. -2 minus 3. -2 minus 3 is -1. So you can write it like this, -1x plus 30, and that's a very good final answer. Or when you have a 1 in front of a variable, you don't have to write that 1. And if it's a -1, you don't have to write the 1 part. Another good way to write this final answer would be 10x squared, and then just -x here in the middle, plus 30. Either of those two things are perfectly good for a final answer, but this one is probably the one that's the most formally correct. One more over here with two distributings. -3x times 1 is -3x. -3 times 10 is -30. X times x is x squared. Don't forget that squared. That's usually the thing that people make the most mistakes with. Now we distribute 6x. 6x times 1 is 6x. 6 times -6 here, -36. X times x is x squared. Let's see if we can combine any like terms. I have two x squared terms. -30 minus 36 is -66x squared. -3x plus 6x. -3 plus 6 is positive 3. Again, make sure you have a plus sign in between. When you're doing your calculations, I haven't been showing Desmos with these problems because we have all integers, the numbers are pretty friendly. You are welcome to always use Desmos to help you with your calculations at any point in time. So if you need help with like -30 minus 36, feel free to use a calculator. All right, let's do two more to make sure we really got it. heard a weird grumble in the background. That is my dog, Tommy Boy. And if you didn't hear it, well, I promise he did it. All right, 2 last ones. Nothing's really different than what we've seen. The thing I just want you to really watch out for is when you need to think about if something's just a regular variable, like a regular x, or if it's an x squared. Here I'm going to distribute negative 10r first. Negative 10 times 1 is negative 10. The r part stays the same. Distributing here, negative 10 times 9 is negative 90. R times r is r squared. Distributing 3 times r, remember that's like a 1r if that helps you. 3 times 1 is 3, and then r. 3 times negative 7 is negative 21. Do we have any like terms to combine? There's only one r squared term, negative 90r squared, so that's going to stay the same. I do have 2 regular r terms. Negative 10 plus 3 would be negative 7r, and then minus 21. So we do have 3 terms in our final answer here, and that's perfectly fine. You know you've done everything completely when you look at your final answer, there's no more like terms to combine, which we do not have any here, so we are good. Last one. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times 1 is negative 9. Negative 9 times 2, or sorry, 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. 9 times negative 7x, 9 times 7 is negative 63, and then just x. We didn't end up with any x squared in this problem because we didn't distribute any x's in this problem. And that's fine, sometimes that happens. All right, time to CLT, combine like terms. X's, negative 9, negative 63 combines to a negative 72x. And then numbers, negative 9 minus 18 is negative 27. So hopefully all that was helpful to you. I hope you have a great day.